Hello and welcome to Can It Take a K26, the show where we take a variety of Nerf blasters and see if they can be upgraded using a K26 spring. I'm your host, Captain Xavier. Our first contestant, the Nerf Reflex IX1, so named because the priming mechanism is internal, anything with X in a name sounds cool, and it only holds one dart. The Reflex was originally released in 2009 as part of the N-Strike series. It features a reverse plunger tube and a bit of tack rail, which for a blaster this small is absolutely laughable. But the question we all want answered is, can it take a K26? Well, let's bust it open and find out. Here we have the internals, and the answer is no. No, it cannot. The spring actually goes on the outside of the plunger, which is just weird, and the plunger is not the right size to take K26 spring, so there you have it. Let's put it back together and bring out the next contestant. Rubbish. Our next contestant is the Nerf Nightfinder EX3, so named because the priming mechanism is external, anything with X in the name is cool, and it holds a grand total of 3 darts. The Nightfinder was first released in 2004 under the N-Strike series, has a direct plunger system, and takes 2 AA batteries in order to power a very ineffective light system of some kind. But the question we are, of course, asking is, can it take a K26? Let's find out. So it turns out, yes! The Nightfinder can, in fact, support K26 spring. It's also very easy to remove the air restrictor, and I will, of course, when I get the tools, brass the breech, and this should be an excellent blaster. I would love to find a flashlight, an actual proper flashlight that would could fit in here that takes 2 AA's, so I will be searching the internet for that because I think that would be a really nice upgrade. I would then of course add an external switch probably to turn that on, but we'll see if I can find something that'll work. There you have it. The Nightfinder is in fact perfectly capable of taking the K26. With a brass barrel, these things are absolutely beautiful, and as soon as I get the parts and tools necessary to start brassing the barrels on these, I will be putting them up on my Etsy page, so keep an eye out for that. Our next contestant on Can It Take a K26? The Nerf Scout IX3. So named, of course, because the priming mechanism is internal, anything with X in the name is cool, and it holds 3 darts. The Scout was first released in 2003 as part of the N-Strike series. It features a reverse plunger tube and also a button on the slide that allows it to be fired when attached to the Nerf Titan as part of the Unity power system. But the question we really want to know is, can it take a K26? Let's find out. The spring is completely external on this particular blaster. I can't imagine how that works particularly well. And unfortunately, there is simply no room for a K26 in this system. However, this is such a cool blaster. I just like the look and the feel of it. I decided to go ahead and upgrade it a little bit. The air restrictor was not easy to remove on this particular blaster, if I remember correctly. The spring, however, was easy to upgrade, and I happen to have one that fit, so I upgraded that. Once I get all the parts to do brass breech upgrades, I will take the time to figure out how on earth to replace it in this one, because this is, like I said, just such a svelte design that I've always really liked. that it's just got to get upgraded. So that's this one's consolation prize. Let's button it up and get on to the next contestant. There you have it. That's a no for the Nerf Scout IX3, but yes on a consolation spring upgrade. More on that as things develop. Our final contestant for the first episode of Can It Take a K26 is the Nerf Sidestrike. The Nerf Sidestrike was originally released in 2014 as part of the Zombie Strike line and later re-released as part of the End Strike line. It uses a direct plunger and was originally released with its own holster that I tragically do not have because I got this one at Goodwill. But let's answer the question, can it take a K26? Right, the answer to the question, can the Sidestrike take a K26, is that while the spirit is willing, the body is weak. A K26 spring will fit in the plunger tube, it will fit on the plunger rod, the catch is sturdy enough to catch it. However, because the plunger rod is bent, as you can see here, it bends up and then goes to the slide. When you put a K26, that bend actually starts to unbend, and you cannot get sufficient pull on the plunger rod to catch it to the trigger catch, or the plunger catch. So the answer is no. Not without considerable additional structural updates that are, quite frankly, just not worth it. All right, well, it could not take a K26, but I have at least increased the spring a little bit and taken out the air restrictor. I'll brass the barrel when the time comes, and this one can go on my Etsy page for those of you who just happen to like it or who have a holster for it. All right, for those of you keeping track at home, that is a no for the Reflex IX1. That is a yes for the Nightfinder EX3. That is a no for the Scout IX3, and a no for the Sidestrike. Any of these pistols that I have been upgrading will be available on my Etsy page as soon as I get all the parts to actually start brassing the barrels, so keep an eye out for that if you'd be interested in getting a heavily upgraded pistol of some kind. If you have any comments, concerns, leave them in the comments below, and thank you for watching my first episode of Can It Take a K26? Stay tuned for more episodes.